Morning, my friend. We're holding in page 172, Parshas Vayakhel. It says the Alter Rebbe, Vayakhel Moshe. It's called Moshe gathered all the Jewish people and told them, 6 days you should do work. And the seventh day it should be holy, it should be a Shabbos for you. So basically, I want to just put over here, we have a few things. We have Shabbos. I have Shabbos. I have Melechas HaMishkan. Now the Alter Rebbe is asking, why was Shabbos taught in proximity, close to the Melechas HaMishkan? How come? Now that's the first question, is why are they close to each other. The other question is that the Torah says twice how you should build a Mishkan. The first time the Torah tells us make the kelim, and then afterwards make the Mishkan. But when they actually built it, they first made the Mishkan, and then afterwards, they made the Kalim. Which makes more sense, because you want to first build a house. So when Hashem told Moshe to make the Mishkan, first he told him make all the Kalim, make the Ara, and make the Menorah, and then you build the Mishkan, and build the beams and the coverings. But when they actually made this week's and next week's Parshas Vayakhel Pekudei, first they build the Mishkan, and only afterwards they build the Kalim. Afterwards, building the Mishkan itself, the coverings of the Mishkan had these yiriyas, these made out of skins of animals. That was the roof. And number 3 is keep Shabbos. So this is another thing we have to add over here. Number 3 is Shabbos. Should erase it, make it clearer. So when Hashem tells Moshe, first is the Kalim, second is the Mishkan, and third is Shabbos. Over here, it's an opposite order. When Moshe tells the Jewish people, he switches the order around. First he says Shabbos, then he says Mishkan, and number 3 is the Kalim. So when Hashem is telling, this is Hashem, so clear. This is Hashem, this is Moshe. So when Hashem tells the Jewish people, first he says, build the Kalim, build the Aron, build the Menorah. Then he says, build the Mishkan. And the last step is you should know, even though you're building the Mishkan, to keep Shabbos. Moshe Rabbeinu, when he tells Jewish people, first thing he tells them is keep Shabbos. Second thing is build the Mishkan. And the third thing is make the Kalim, make the Aron, make the Shulchan, make the Menorah. Why is the order reversed? Why, when Moshe communicated with the Yidden, did he change the order? The reason is, the idea is, so the idea basically is it says, Ve'osu li migdash v'shachanti b'seicham. Torah tells us, Ve'osu li mikdash v'shachanti b'seicham. You should make me a mikdash, and this is a very important pasuk. Chanti b'seicham. It says b'seicham in them. It doesn't say b'seichai, I'll dwell in the mikdash. So b'seichai means, says Alter Rebbe, b'seichai l'nemar lo b'seicham. The Medrash says, D'hainu b'seichai l'chlolus and Sham Yisrael, Yishkin kved Hashem, Havai Yisbarach alei Mishkan. That through the Mishkan, in other words, the Mishkan wasn't just a place to go to pray. There's 2 ways to look at the Mishkan. The Mishkan is a place to go daven. It's a place that I go to daven. Another way to look at it is the Mishkan is a place where Hashem rests himself. And that's what it says, B'seicham, that through having the Kalim in the Mishkan, it wasn't just Okay, there's a showbread, and there's a shulchan, there's a menorah. It was bringing down godliness into the world. Like the Gemara says, that if you want to become rich, you should focus on the shulchan brought wealth to the world. Each keli, just like in any type of technology, every component of the technology, whether it's the camera or it's the mic, it has a different function. So too, everything in the Mishkan was the functionality of it was to bring Yud Kei Vav Kei into the Jewish people. Now that we're in Galus, we don't have a Mishkan or a Beis Hamikdash. Through being busy with Torah mitzvahs, that's how we have the Mishkan also. Hashem resting by us. The Torah is like the vessels of the Mishkan. And the mitzvahs are the yiriyos. The yiriyos was those tapestries. It was made out of either woven or animal skin. That's what they use. For example, today what we use for tarp. If you have a tent, you have tarp, or you have the nylon cloth for the tent. In those days, they didn't have nylon. They use animal skin or clothes, or like they weaved something together. Because through mitzvahs, the soul gets garments. Which causes, like it says in the pasuk, and your tzedakah will walk in front of you. The glory of Hashem will gather you in. Just like a tent covers you up, so too mitzvahs are like a garment. When I wear a sweater, I wear a shirt, it covers me up. I'm now presentable. I'm able to interact with people and go and go work and go daven and go learn. So therefore, the mitzvahs are just like the yiriyos, because the mitzvahs are makifim. Makif. And Torah is a thing of mazin. What's the idea of makif? This is something very important for the mimer. I'm going to flip this over for a second. And I want to discuss this nekuda, which is very important nekuda of makif versus pnimi, which that's the idea. So we have in the Mishkan, we have makif and pnimi, which is not a random thing. The Mittel Rebbe explains that we have in our life, we have, to explain makif and pnimi in a very simple sense, I have two ways I could get information or relay information. The first one is the five senses, the five chushim. I could see, hear, smell, touch, taste. So I have five chushim. With these five chushim, I'm able to understand what's going on in the world. In other words, if you ask me what happened to Yankel Tadris, I could tell you that I heard. I'm using one of my chushim. I heard about it, or I saw that he was wearing a red shirt. I saw he was wearing a black shirt. I saw that he went somewhere. If I didn't see it, seeing is believing. If I didn't see it, I wouldn't know. When I come into a store and I smell the kokosh cake, I know there's a good kokosh cake that I want to buy and eat. If I taste the kokosh cake, I know it's a good kokosh cake. If I don't, without these five senses, anything that's these five senses can't catch, I don't know about. Then the Gemara tells us a very interesting idea. This is all called pnimi. This is all called pnimi. Why? Because I'm able to understand it and it comes inside me. It's called the Ohr Pnimi. So for example, so then we have Ohr Makif. Ohr Makif, the Gemara tells us a story that Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah says that Ema Gedoyla, Chareda Gedoyla Nafal Aleim, a big fear fell upon them. But they didn't know what it was. And that's, the Gemara says it's called Mazel. Mazlo. Mazel, the word mazla comes to the word noisel, which means dripping. The mazel drips down. In other words, the experience that we're experiencing, even the physicists are aware of it today. We don't, a person on the Shalom Beguf doesn't experience the full experiences that happens. For example, Chachamim tell us that if Hashem gave reshus for the eye to see what's going on, we would go nuts. Because there's all these malachim, all these angels, malachim flying around. You would go crazy. You see the malachim all over. I'm in my room. I think about myself. I'm walking in the street. I think about myself. I'm in the car. I think about myself. But dogs, for example, sometimes a dog starts barking out of no reason. Why? The reason is the dog sees the malach. Therefore, the dog starts barking. The dog's able to see things more than we are able to see because the dog doesn't have the seichel, and he won't have a mental breakdown when he sees all these malachim. So there's two ways that Hashem creates the world, and two ways there's energy coming into the world, and even on my own personal life. This is what I see, hear, smell, touch, taste, which that's the 5 chushim. That's called a Ohr Pnimi. Ohr Pnimi means, Pnimi literally means it goes inside. What goes inside means if I'm holding this marker, I got it. It's inside, I got it. But it's a very limited amount of ink. It's only this color. I only can hold one mark at a time. That's what chushim is, okay? Then we have Ohr Makif, Mazla. Mazla, I'm going to give the mashal for Mazla as radio waves. Or it could be either radio waves, or it could be also, there's a spectrum of light and color that we can't see. But I'll just do radio waves. Cellular waves. So when you're in shul, you're walking down the street, you're in a wedding, you only hear the band. When I hear the band, that's chush number 2, I hear. That's Ohr Pnimi. But do you have any idea how many conversations are going around in the room? What do you mean? You don't hear anything. You're in a quiet room. Oh, there's something called the radio waves or cellular waves. And everyone knows, if you have a cell phone, if I send you a text message or WhatsApp, or I call you up and I'm talking to you, the message has to go somewhere. It's like the bacher gets a bar mitzvah present. He gets a cell phone. He's so excited. He says, Tati, I'm so impressed with the technology. His father asks him, why are you so impressed? He says, because there's no wires. How does it work? So his father says, and with the wires, you understand how it works? You ever thought about how a cell phone works? So think about it, there's kind of these like waves that our 5 chushim cannot comprehend. And therefore, it's able to pass through the ear and nobody notices it. But in reality, it's all there. That's the idea of mazel. That's Ohr Makif. Ohr Makif is an energy that's going around, and this is in my personal life. So too, just like it's in my personal life, the same exact thing applies in Torah mitzvahs. That we have the Ohr Pnimi and the Ohr Makif. So the Alter Rebbe said, which one is Ohr Pnimi, which is Ohr Makif? What did the Alter Rebbe say? The Alter Rebbe said, correct. He said mitzvahs are Ohr Makif, which we're going to explain that. And Torah, the obviously one, it's like playing Sudoku, there's only 2 options. So the other one is Torah. Torah is the Ohr Pnimi. Torah you actually could taste it and feel it and sense it. And we're going to get into those details momentarily. Says the Alter Rebbe, now that we have this general Hakdama, let's look inside. Back on page Zayin Omid Aleph. So another idea of Makif we put over here is clothes. A clothes is another idea of Makif, which you don't have to really go to that. Clothes is also a Makif, because the clothes doesn't go inside you. Clothing. There's obviously different types of Makif, because we have, cellular waves, we have clothing, and there's other types of Makif. So, the Torah is like the vessels of the Mishkan. And let's go back here to the Mishkan. I'm going to use a different color here. We have the Mitzvah Torah is Klei HaMishkan. And this is going to be Yeriyos, which are the roof, the tarp, which was, in those days, was made out of animal skin, which will probably be today too if it was done. That's the Torah said you should make it out of. Lenefesh. Through mitzvahs you make a levush for the nefesh. Yeah. That's just like yiriyos, which they are makifim. And Torah is mazin. There's a nice word they say. Why did Yaakov Avinu, when he was going to Lavan, he davened, Hashem, give me bread to eat and clothes to wear. What else do you do with bread? You play with it. You eat it. What do you do with clothes? You wear it. So there's a taich I think it's a Chassidish Deitch, that Yaakov was saying, Hashem, I don't want lechem, I want that also, but when I ask for lechem, I want it to be lechem kipshutei, literal or bread. Not lechem nachma shel Torah. I don't want it to be levushim, which is the mitzvah like levushim. So, bechinas klei hamishkan, bechinas pnimim. That's the idea of klei hamishkan, which we said that klei hamishkan, they are, you see that? The klei hamishkan, they are pnimim. The klei hamishkan are similar to, in my life, I have the five senses, which is like Torah and the klei hamishkan. So, to understand this, I first have to understand what it says in the pasuk. Hashem says like this through the Navi: I am Hashem, I didn't change. What do you mean didn't change? That Hashem there's no change in Hashem and no excitement, chas v'shalom, through creating the world. In other words, the biggest scientist, the biggest chacham, the biggest tzaddik, when he does something, there's some sense of accomplishment. I wrote this book, even if the book is not affecting him on his day-to-day life, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, I, says Hashem, I didn't change. There's no difference between before I created the world, after I created the world. Even though the world is full of so many details and so much science, so much wisdom. What does it mean there's no difference? Just like Hashem is one and the only one before he created the worlds, so too, that's how he is after the world is created. Like the saying is, you are the same Ata, you are the same you, God, before the world was created, and you are the same God when the world was created. What does this mean? The creation of the world doesn't make any change on Hashem. Chas v'shalom. This means because this energy that comes from Hashem to enliven the worlds, this general light and this energy is only a ray from his core. Just like, for example, we have the sun. The sun is a mashal Chassidus gives, Kabbalah gives, for creation. That if you have a sun and one ray shines from the sun, it doesn't affect the sun. It shined the ray, it didn't shine the ray when the ray was in the sun, when it was out of the sun. It doesn't make a difference to the sun. The sun has so much energy and so much light. It doesn't make a difference to the sun if when the ray was in the sun or when it left the sun. In other words, the entire galaxies and worlds, not just our world, there's spiritual worlds above us with hundreds of thousands of malachim, ribid evavis, tens and tens of thousands. All those malachim were created from one ha'ara, one ray, one light. That light is nothing compared to Hashem. Think about it in yourself, okay? Think about it, because our Chachamim tell us that the Eibusha created the world with words, speech. When you say one word, Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, Chaf Aleph, that when I say one word, is there a difference in your life in any shape or form before you said the word or after you said the word? If I say hello or I say $1 million, what changed in my life before? Not nothing, because I have unlimited abilities to speak, unlimited ability to think, unlimited words and unlimited letters, and one thought and one word, even one sentence. It's just the ha'ara. It made no change before I made the sentence. Before I made the sentence, that word was included in my soul and the capability to say the words. And once I said it, it left me. Right? There's an expression, Chachamim tell us that once a word leaves your mouth, it's boss over you. When the word is in your mouth, you're boss on the word. You're in control. But the moment that you say the word, now the word has a life on its own. You said some lashon hara. You said something positive about a person. Someone came to me, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and he gave me a sefer, and he inscribed in it. I asked him, why you inscribe, give me a free sefer? He said, because you told me a good word, you encouraged me. He showed me his sefer. I saw his sefer, and I was very impressed. I said, wow, it's a beautiful sefer. Once I said those words, and I was genuinely impressed and genuinely respected what he did. He took a beautiful shir, and he wrote it down that everyone could have access to it. A very big Talmud Chacham. And once I said those words, I wasn't boss anymore. Those words were in his head, they were ringing in his head, and they inspired him. He said, because of your inspiration, I was able to write this book, the Sefer. Did it make a difference in my life? After I told him that word? My life was the same I was before. The good parts were still good. The bad parts were still bad. The annoying parts were still annoying. The money I had stayed the same. Like a wise man told me, with that and $2, I could ride the bus, ride the subway. So too, by the Eibishter Vayakhel, before he created the world, after he created the world, it's exact same thing. Nothing changed by him. Made no difference in his life. No dent, nothing. But Hashem, his core and his essence, is uplifted from the world. That's why it's called HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Kadishim of the. What does the word Kadosh mean? We spoke last week about it in short with the Malachim, that the Malachim, each Malach, the reason why we say by Nakdishach Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh 3 times, because each Malach in its own world, whatever's the world higher than it, the godliness, the likus, and the spirituality higher than it, it cannot grasp. So too, why do we call Hashem a Kadosh Baruch Hu? The word Kadosh means he's separated. It's something which I cannot comprehend. I can't even comprehend, because we have a mashal about words, but what did Hashem create? He created an unbelievable world. Just one item in the world. Anything you take in the world is a complete science. Lighting is a science. Color is a deep science. Chess, it's unbelievable when you learn about everything in the world is such a building, construction, everything in the world is war, physics. It's an unbelievable world. And that made no difference to Hashem. First of all, he created from nothing. Nothing existed, and he created a whole unbelievable thing. And made no change in him. So we say that such a thing is Kaddish, it's something which I cannot even comprehend. Even though it says that Ra'ata, you Hashem, enliven everything, it doesn't come from Hashem's core, it comes from the ray. Since it comes from Hashem's ray, it makes no difference to him. This hara is Malchus. This ray, ha'ara, is the Eibishter's Malchus. Which comes, like it says in the pasuk, Malchuscha, Malchus kol elamim. Your Malchus is the Malchus of all the worlds. Shechayis kol elamim suim b'chiras Malchuscha, that the energy of all the worlds comes from Malchus. Dainu shemash, nikru yizbarach melech aleim. This that Hashem is called a king on all the worlds. Mizeh atzmai heim chayim v'kayamim. From this itself, what is a king? It's explained in the Chassidus that a king, Dvar Melech, the pasuk says, Dvar Melech Shiltain, the word of a king controls. The king is not in every single house. We're coming out to Pesach, and there's a famous story with one of the tzaddikim came for Pesach, and he asked he asked his gabbai, could you please get me some illegal substance, whether it was tobacco or alcohol, whatever was illegal, something illegal. He got it from tobacco that was illegal. He said, could you get me some chametz from Yiddish house? The rabbi said, I can't do it. He said, listen, comes to the Eibishter told you not to have chametz. He didn't clean out. You can't find even a drop of chametz, even a crumb of chametz. But the king said that you shouldn't have a certain substance, shouldn't have this tobacco, and I can find it easily for the right price in the black market. Because be'etzem, a king doesn't come into your house and control you. A king controls through words. He sits in his palace. He's removed from everybody. He talks to you, and he controls you. It's a little hard to relate to a king because we don't have kings anymore. But and especially now we have, like, let's say Donald Trump, who is very personable. He's al derech Achashverosh type of king. He's a president. He's more of a regular guy. He's not a career politician. So it's a little hard to relate to it. But the idea of a malchus is that malchus is just malchus peh. Malchus is speech. It's not. I'm not explaining it to you. I'm not inspiring you. I'm telling you. And you listen to what I tell you no matter what. That's a king. So every day in davening we say, your name should be praised forever, our king. Pirush, the Rebbe says, whenever the Alter Rebbe says Pirush, it's a chiddush, it's a novelty, it's a novel interpretation of the Alter Rebbe. Pirush, Taich the Alter Rebbe, when we say the Eibishter's Malchus has another name also. The other name for Malchus is also Shemai. Shmoi and Malchus is the same thing. The Eibishter's name and Eibishter Malchus is the same thing. Hula'ad, it's forever. Dainu ad in case tachlis, there's no end to it. The Eibusher's name, the Eibusher's malchus, the Eibusher's kingdom and rulership is forever. Ki midas malchus higam ki bechinas ein sif mamish. Because the midah of malchus is also unlimited. Kivan shiha adam imenu yisbarach, since it's a ray from Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu is ein leitchila ve'ein leitichla, has no beginning and no end. So therefore, what comes from him is also has no beginning, no end, has no end. So Shekasu b'chas yetzer, this we say. We say in Shachar, so the bracha before Kishma Yetzer, they make that the Malachim make great noise. The words of the living king and the king of the world. Koil is the idea of Hamshacha, which we explained last week in short in Torah. The idea of Koil is Hamshacha. What does Koil mean? Koil means I'm speaking to you. So there's two ways. In myself itself, it's Koil Ma'ira Rakavana. When I speak, it's drawing out my intention. It's bringing focus. Also, when I speak to you, I'm giving you information. I'm explaining to you something. I'm giving you directions. Make a right, make a left, and then you find the pizza store. So the idea of Koil is Hamshacha. It's bringing down either it's inspiring or it's information. The Malachim could only grasp Elikim Chayim Alachaylam. Avat Smusim Husis Baruch HaKadosh, move the Leibsh's core is separated and holy. The Leis Machshava Tvisa Beiklal, no thought could grasp it at all. V'lachein Leishanisi Kanal, therefore there's no change in him. Since the whole world is only being created from the ray of Hashem's core, and therefore all the galaxies and everything only come from that ray, therefore there's no change in Hashem's core, and therefore it makes no difference to him that there was a world, there is no world. So this is what it says in the Navi, when he describes the Merkava, which is, so to speak, the spiritual realms of how Hashem runs the world through in this more spiritual realms. So there it says that the Chayis, which Chayis refer to the Malachim, a certain type of Malach, in a certain world, they're carrying the kisei, they're carrying the chair, which on the chair was the Muskamari Adam, is Adam Ha'elyon. They were sweating from the weight of the chair. What does it mean? When they're sweating comes because I'm afraid of something. When you're afraid of the king, because you're carrying the king, meaning that they're in awe of the king. Therefore they accept the yoke of heaven. The Makabel Oil Malchus Shamayim, Yir Shamayim, because of that. So now we're going to explain that we said before, just to switch this back for a moment, we explained before that in my life I have two types of energies, right? I have Ohr Pnimi and Ohr Makif, which in a certain sense we said it's the mazel or it's the radio waves. Can you see this? It's the radio waves, or it's the five chushim, seeing, hearing, smelling. But why is it like this? Also, where Hashem connects to the world is also in this way, in two ways. There's Ohr Makif and Ohr Pnimi. So the Ohr Makif, the way in Kabbalah calls it, they call it Soiviv Kolalmin. The Ohr Makif is called Soiviv Kolalmin. Think about it by radio waves, and Memali Kolalmin is the Ohr Pnimi. Think about it in your own life. When it comes to radio waves, it's the whole room is filled with radio waves. But when you channel into only your cell phone gets the message, gets the WhatsApp. Only your cell phone gets the phone call and hears the audio through it, lest the government's spying on you, which that's a separate discussion. But the Ohr Makif and Ohr Pnimi we have in our own life, and the way Hashem communicates and gives energy to the world is also with Ohr Makif and Ohr Pnimi. The from the Eibusher's Malchus comes also a light and energy, also in two ways, and one way is the Ohr Makif, and one is the Ohr Pnimi. Why? Since that Ohr Makif, the Malchus, is also limitless, we said because it comes from Hashem's core, and Hashem is limitless, so whatever comes from is also limitless. This is the idea of the infinite Or, the infinite light that's mentioned in the Kabbalistic literature. Because light is a revelation, and drawing down from Hashem's core. Like it's known, the sun itself is called Ma'or. Ma'or is the source of light. But light is the ray that's drawn from the Ma'or of the Shemesh and shines to the land of those who dwell in it. So too, the level of Ein Seif is Al Derech Mashal, a ray that's drawn from the Eibusher's core. But Hashem's core mamish it's not shaykh, the terminology, the lashon of light. And being that the light is also Ein Sof, it's unlimited, so the worlds cannot contain such energy. So if I'm only going to have a Ohr Pnimi, it's going to be an explosion. It's going to be too much energy in a vessel that can't handle it. It's like putting my cup under Niagara Falls. Another example of it. I put my cup under Niagara Falls, my cup is not going to fill up because there's too much energy. I need to put it under my faucet, my sink. Therefore, the most of the energy is surrounding it. So think about it with the sun. Same thing applies with the sun. Same thing applies with water. Is an interesting muscle for that. Might be more relatable. That you have all the water that's in the pipes. If it will come to your pipe, it would be with too much water. The most of the water is circulating in the pipes. You don't get most of the water. But you open your faucet, a little bit comes out. That's Ohr Pnimi. And that's why there's two energies in the world, because since Hashem is unlimited, and his energy and the ray that comes from him, that created the entire world, which is we call Malchus, which is, so to speak, Hashem's name. Hashem's name created the entire world. All the galaxies, all the spiritual worlds. So since that energy is so powerful, most of it's makif, most of it's surrounding. And a little bit comes in. And now we understand why there's a sixth sense. Because the five senses in my life only allows me to interact with a little bit. Imagine every single radio station would be blasting right now. In your room, in your house, in your car. You don't be able to hear anything. If every single phone call was that's separate discussion of privacy. But if every single WhatsApp message from every single phone came to your phone, you'd be so many messages, you wouldn't be able to answer the messages. So therefore, most of the energy in the world is hidden. But a little bit comes in, and that's we're going to conclude for today. See you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.